You are welcome to this edition of Update. Again, there has been another coup in Africa. This time it is in the coup-prone Guinea-Bissau. Just a few days ago, military officers took over power in that country. The coup came in the wake of the controversial elections that took place a few days ago in that country. Today, new people have taken over. The president of the country, a president accused of electoral malpractice, has admitted that a coup has taken place. An officer says that they have closed the borders of the country and suspended the poll and the announcement of the elections. They said they had taken control of that country just a few days after the elections. The military officers, according to the Guardian newspaper of London, said that they are suspending Guinea-Bissau's electoral process and closing the borders. They said in a statement that they had formed a high military command for the restoration of order, which will rule the country for till further notice. My name is Rimamnde Shawulu. This is Update. The election was a contest, a very tight contest between the incumbent president or the president that has now been overthrown, President Umaro Sissoco Embaló, and the main challenger, Fernando Díaz da Costa. And the elections came in the wake of similar events that took place in Cameroon and in Tanzania. The political parties and opposition political parties were disqualified and stopped from running. Fernando Díaz da Costa, apparently from the results of the election, appeared to have done well because the election was very tight. And as the results were being expected, a group of senior military officers appeared on state television and announced that they had taken total control of the country and had formed a high military command for the restoration of order. The embattled president, of course, in an interview with international news media, confirmed that he had been arrested and deposed by the coup plotters. And of course, the coup plotters immediately did what most coup plotters do. They suspended the parliament and government activity. They suspended or have imposed strict controls on media outlets. And of course, like I said, created a transitional command structure. But it should be noted that the president himself had disbanded the parliament and refused to allow the parliament to meet from 2023 to this year. It's not a new thing because even the elected president decided to disband the parliament. And of course, the motives of the coup, as expected, varied. Some people and the coup plotters and their supporters who say that they had struck to restore order. There are other issues that are being brought up that political elites, both the military and politicians, are divided because of interest in drug trade, which has taken hold of the country, and the country has become known as a narcotic state with hard drugs moving to Europe, using that country as a transit point. As you may know, former presidents of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan and Filipe Nyusi of Mozambique, who were election observers in the country and appear to be stuck there, have urged for quick regional action and the release of the detained electoral officials. The United Nations and international actors have condemned the seizure of power and called for respect for human rights and safety of detainees. Like I said, the former colonial authority, that is Portugal, issued a statement which was reported by Reuters news agency, and they called for an end to violence in the republic and called for the resumption of the electoral process. The Portuguese government, according to the statement, calls on all those involved to refrain from any act of institutional or civil violence and to resume the regular functioning of institutions so that the process of counting and proclaiming the election results can be finalized. Portugal did not do much when the ousted president decided to suspend the parliament for a very long time. And of course, what have been the drivers or what people think are the reasons for what has just happened? Of course, this is not the first time that a coup has been launched against the embattled President Umaro. In November 2023, clashes erupted in Bissau between units of the National Guard and forces loyal to the presidency after National Guard troops freed two detained ministers who were accused of corruption. According to Wikipedia, the president called that an attempted coup, and the commander of the National Guard, Colonel Victor Tuchongo, was arrested, and parliament was dissolved days later. The parliament has not functioned for nearly 2 years from 2024. Guinea-Bissau has been labeled narcotic state, like I did say before, and this is due to the fact that drug lords appear to have penetrated both the military and the political elites in that country, and they have split themselves into forces. And this president had had many coups, some of them, like Nigerians, were phantom coups against him. At least there were 3. In February 2022, there was a failed coup plot according to the government. In November 2023, there was also an attempted coup. And then, of course, in October last month, this happened just before the controversial elections that was marred by the fact that the president, as happened in Cameroon and Tanzania, decided to banish and destroy the opposition political parties in such a way that elections will go in his favor. But of course, there have been many coup plots in that country. From 1980 to last year, there have been at least 7 or so coup plots or announced coup plots. In 1980, there was a successful coup plot that overthrew the president, Louis Cabral. It was because of discontent within the army, ethnic and political grievances. 1998, there was a failed coup plot. 1999, there was a successful coup plot. 2003, successful coup plot. 2010, was a mutiny. And then 2012, there was another coup plot. And then a failed coup plot in 2022, and another attempted coup or announced coup plot 2023. And then the failed coup last month. And then the current ongoing coup plot. So the country is known for political instability. Now, what are the implications of what has happened now for the African continent? The regional implications for this are very clear. This appears to be another coup again within the region. Since 2020, there have been a resurgence of coups and attempted coups across the Sahel and the West African coast, Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Gabon. And then there have been attempted coup plots in Sierra Leone and Gambia. There appear to be disillusionment across West Africa with the performance of democracy. Former elections in West Africa appear to give the public very little options, alternative to power, because of manipulations and flawed electoral systems. There's also the fact that the regional power, ECOWAS, has been so weakened. It's unlikely that ECOWAS will be able to take any effective actions as it did some years ago when it intervened successfully in Sierra Leone and Liberia. ECOWAS attempts to reverse the coups in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger eroded the credibility of the bloc and created a situation where those countries moved out of ECOWAS. So that is where we are today. What is the implication of this for democracy in Africa? And I think it's very important for those in charge of the political process in Africa to note the fact that Africa is left behind. Evidence, data exists to show that most of the conflicts in Africa are actually political. Failed political process, failed electoral process, and the inability of the governing elites to ensure that there is legitimacy or people believe that what they are doing is transparent and honest. Well, my name is Rimamnde Shawulu. This is Update. Please like and share our video. Click the like button on our video so that our video will be shared by YouTube to other people who have similar interests, who will need to get the information that we have been able to gather.